Alrighty, welcome back to another Empires and Puzzles video. We have something new that has come into the official servers, into the public servers, and it is the Hero Coach. Basically, in a nutshell, what you see about this Hero Coach is you put a hero that you either have it leveled halfway, or you have it at a base 1-1, or even limit broken but not to the max. You can put that hero over here, and instead of using feeders, ham, and iron in case of the limit breaks to kind of level him up, you are going to use gems to level that particular hero all the way up to level 90. So in this case, I do believe it's only for legendary heroes. I think. Yep, correct. It's only for legendary heroes. So basically, to bring them all the way up to level 90, which is double limit broken. Now the whole thing, I'm sure you've seen a lot of content creators on YouTube or content creators on Facebook or the forums already giving out their opinions on what heroes to use for this hero coach. What would be the best heroes? What would be the kinds of heroes you would be looking out for? And I'm here to do almost the same thing. Now, before I get started here, the hero coach has a limit of the what do you call it, the heroes that you can put into this basically this event to kind of coach them up. As the namesake goes, you can't put any of the newer heroes up for coaching, probably because they're just too proud to be coached anyways. So I do believe they have it here. No. Okay, yeah. You can only train legendary heroes that were released more than 730 days before the start of this event, which means you can only put legendary heroes that has been out for at least 2 years. Now, some of you are going to say, well, the heroes that came out 2 years ago are more or less rendered obsolete in the current meta. I'm here to tell you that not all of those heroes are, completely obsolete. And this has to do with some of the current heroes that are currently in the meta. And when I talk about the meta, I'm talking about heroes that are likely on defense that is giving the most amount of problems, and the heroes that are basically in the top 5 alliances war defenses in the most amount of frequency possible. What I'm talking about are heroes like Bernadette, heroes like Fergus, heroes like Grimsteel, heroes like the Garrison Guard heroes from Dima, Kolya, Rosalind, Shimmerscale, Violet Pepper Pots. You get the last purple woman who's a fighter who heals a big load of stuff, and you get the point. It's basically a lot of these heroes that are currently in the meta right now, and a lot of these heroes you will need to dig back into some of your reserve heroes in order to kind of counter them. There are quite a few, don't get me wrong, and sometimes it becomes a bit of an issue to kind of level those old heroes up, because the current trend of thing is that everybody pulls the new heroes and everybody spends their time and resources to level up those new heroes, and by the time you level those new heroes up, you feel that kind of reluctance to use resources like feeders, ham, iron to kind of level up your older heroes that you have been keeping in your roster and collecting dust, and you really feel the sort of like, I don't really want to level this hero right now because I have newer shit to level. So this is where the hero coach comes in. Now, it's really sad that they're only letting you do one hero coaching. It's probably the same as the soul exchange. It's probably the same as the outfitter as well. I do not think that it is overly wise to have multiple attempts and multiple availabilities for you to coach a lot of heroes, because then the spenders, they can just chuck everything that they have into this system and continue coaching them, because that is where they they are the ones who are spending the gems and all that. So let's look at some of the heroes that which I'm talking about, and now I'm going to look at it only from my roster point of view, because I believe I do have some of these heroes that are currently already leveled up and can be used as quite of a good basis to kind of level these heroes, use these heroes in the current meta as well. One of the main ones that I think a lot of the content creators now, I'll be very honest, I have not watched any of my fellow content creators videos on the hero coach. Take it at face level, believe me or not, I don't really care, but I have not watched a single video about hero coach. The reason being is that I was harboring hopes that they would change the aspect of these 730 days. I was hoping that they make it, instead of 2 years, it would make it at least 1.5 to 1 year old heroes. That way we will actually have a lot more options to work with, and I think it would make the player base a little bit happy as well. Now obviously 2 years can seem a bit limited in terms of the pool of heroes that you can level, but we're going to see that there are actually some heroes here which I think are perfectly viable in the current state of things in order for you to level. Now, one of the main ones that I think a lot of people are suggesting is Oniwakamaru, and to me, I think it's also one of the very good options for you to level. Oniwakamaru works very, very well against the top 2 tanks in the game right now, Bernadette and Fergus. You have the taunt that you can get in 5 to 6 tiles, and it's good enough because the taunt stops the rest of your heroes getting hit by Fergus's mana cut. You get the taunt that prevents Bernadette. Because the taunt is undispellable, you ensure that only Oniwakamaru gets hit by Bernadette's painting effect. So I think, a lot of the times Oniwakamaru becomes very clutch in those kind of situations. You would want to theory craft a team that you want to bring against Fergus or Bernadette, and I think Oniwakamaru is one of the main heroes that you would consider to be the support that is required to essentially try and win against these kind of teams, these kind of war defenses. So Oniwakamaru takes like a very peak priority if you don't want to spend resources on getting Oniwakamaru leveled up by using resources like ham and feeders. And even for me, like I'm using Oniwakamaru now at 1 limit broken, but I did spend the 5 nodes of the master talents in order to get him up to 25 nodes, because I really want that additional status ailment resistance, as well as it gets to cleanse the newest status ailment from this character. It comes in clutch from time to time, and I can tell you it's really worth it. Now, if you ask me, would you use the coach for this? Yes, I would consider using the coach on Oniwakamaru if you have Oniwakamaru at the base form, and coincidentally as well, the current wilderness summons as well. You could actually pull Oniwakamaru from there as well. So if you can get a base Oniwakamaru, I think it's very good that you could use the hero coach to kind of level him up to make you have at least one option to deal with Fergus and Bernadette. Now, if you're not at that level, if you're not at the level where you're facing, 6 Fergus or 6 Bernadette teams, or multiple Fergus and Bernadette teams, then I can see you taking your time still in leveling up these kind of heroes, which means you don't really need to use the hero coach. I'm using Oniwakamaru in top 20, 30 wars, alliance wars, and Oniwakamaru at 1 limit break is still fine. The only question is whether or not you would have the resources to you would have those limit break resources, the 5 legendary blue ethers, the 5 legendary blue ethers, I think it's 20 I want to say 20 epic ethers, and then 35 small ethers as well. The main problem comes with the 5 legendary ethers and the 35 small ethers, because that's where people run out of things. So anyways, for that being the case, I think I would against what the other people are talking about, I would not recommend Oniwakamaru if you already have the resources for pushing him to 1 limit break. If you're thinking of pushing him to 2 limit break, to the double limit break, then sure. Then I think using the hero code should be very good for him. Now, the other one that I want to touch on is actually the season 1 heroes that you have the glass or toon costumes. Those are the ones where I think if you really want to have a good roster to deal with either Fergus or Bernadette, I think having those season 1 costumes, like for example, not Ezla, you're looking at Leonidas, for example, you're looking at Thorn, Elkanan, Cadillac not so much, because Cadillac is pretty weak. Even with the glass and toon version, I'm pretty sure Cadillac is pretty weak. You're looking at heroes like Magni, for example, who hits like a truck. Richard, for example, who is really strong. So yeah, so those kind of season 1 heroes, like Marjana, for example, as well. So those kinds of season 1 heroes, you would feel that reluctant. There is a wave of reluctance from players who would want to spend those kind of resources. Can you imagine using 10 alpha eaters to kind of level up your season 1 heroes? I think that's where this is where the hero coach comes into play, because look, let's face reality. You will never use the base versions of these season 1 heroes. You will never use Ezla, for example, and you will never use the main version Thorn. But you would try to use the glass version or the toon version of Thorn when the glass version comes out, just because the toon or the glass versions are the ones that are currently affecting the meta, is being part of the meta right now because of their resistance to mana reductions, their resistance to certain ailments, and their reflect as well, using the glass passives. So I could see these kind of heroes being one of those ones that will definitely benefit from hero coaching, because of the stigma of forcing yourself to use 10 alpha eaters on the season 1 heroes. So I can see that happening. Other than that, there are other heroes as well that you should be looking at. I think one of the main ones, if you're a very active player for Mythic Titans, or you're a very active player for events, there are heroes as well that you can use for those kind of situations where there is again a wave of reluctance for using 10 alpha eaters to kind of boost up those kind of Titan specialist heroes or event specialist heroes. Now, what I'm talking about are heroes like, for example, let me see if I have them here. So for example, like Khufu, I guess Khufu will be one of them. If you don't have them double limit break, you can certainly use it for hero coach. Asterius as well. Asterius, if you don't have someone like Hammerclang, for example, or you don't have someone like Buster, you don't want to use that, you can definitely still use Asterius for events. Pengi, for example, I mean, Pengi, let's face it, not many people have found success in using Pengi for wars, but Pengi is still one of those heroes that is amazing for Titans, regardless of the emergence of Gastile and Dark Feather, for all those kind of reasons. So Pengi, I still see being one of those that you can use for those Titan specialist teams or event teams. I mean, event teams, they're not really that much here, except maybe Kagan, for example. The pioneers for content creators, going dating back as like 4 or 5 years ago, often saying that Kagan is one of the most useless heroes in the game because of how stupid his his special skill was. But hey, event specialist players would say differently, because Kagan is one of the best, I would say, I would argue that he is the number 1 red fire damage dealing hero that you can use for events. And it can be difficult to kind of convince yourself to put 10 alpha eaters on Kagan, for example, in order to push him to the double limit break, because you want that stats, you want the stats bonus, you want the damage for him, for example. The other heroes that I have here, which I don't have right now, is Loki, for example, because Loki, I have the max I maxed him both ways, both regular and costume. I actually maxed him out already, but Loki is one of the other options, to deal with Bernadette. Not so much for Fergus, but for Bernadette is definitely useful. Ludwig, for example, if you like, you just get Ludwig from the Fated Summons, or you just get Ludwig from any one of those old portals, and you find it very, very difficult to put that 10 Alpha Eaters on him, because the Alpha Taunt is no longer a very significant thing in the meta right now. Yeah, you can use this to kind of beef up your rush war defenses, or kind of like get to a certain point where you can use him in your war attack teams as well. Yeah, Ludwig is an option. I mean, you're looking at, again, these are heroes that are 2 years old, so there are a lot of these heroes right here which you have that sense of reluctance in order to use your 10 Alpha Eaters and all the other resources, your feeders, your hams, your irons, in order for you to level this up. You would rather level the newest thing or the latest heroes possible, in order for you to try and keep up with the current state of things, because let's face it, stats can come into effect, can make or break your team. If your stats of those heroes are lower compared to the defense, there's a chance that they don't survive a certain snipe or a certain damage effect from the opposing hero. So those are the heroes, and I think I'm rambling on for too long, but those are the heroes that I would really consider putting into hero coach, and making sure that you have the resource. You can spend less resources in order to level up either just the emblems or the costume version of it. Like, I'll give you a very good example. Even Guardian Gazelle, like, to me, I think Gazelle still works in the current state of things, even with Astrid, even with Bonzo, even with Salimata on defenses. I think Guardian Gazelle still works really, really well, especially in giving your team that damage reduction, that can help against a lot of these mega minion defenses. So I have 4 Guardian Gazelles here. I have 2 maxed and 2 which are currently right here right now. Do I want to use them for hero coach? There is a possibility I would want to use one of them to make sure that I have a 3rd Gazelle as an option. Those people who have seen my war videos know how much I like Gazelle. There is obviously a soft spot for me for Gazelle. Shout out to Born as well, who's, I believe, has stopped making videos and all that, but I know he really loves his 6 Gazelles as well. You could see last time when he was using 6 Gazelles, and I can tell you right now, in the current meta, 6 Gazelles, if you have 6 Gazelles, you are free from ailments, I tell you. And the only thing that you want is because you want Gazelle to remain alive, and that's where you want to spend those 10 Alpha Eaters. But being that Alpha Eaters are still a very rare resource in the game, you would instead want to use those Alpha Eaters for your big hitters, for your latest heroes. And Gazelle is, to be fair, a bit outdated, so you might not want to spend those Alpha Eaters on Gazelle. So this is where the hero coach comes into play. Please, for the love of God, do not put Mystero inside your hero coach. I'll personally fly over and slap you in the face to try to wake you up, unless you're a spender, in which case you really don't have anything that you really want to put for your hero coach. Then by all means, go ahead. And I'm speaking from a point where I used to defend Mystero at some point in my tenure in this game. But yeah, please don't put Mystero in the in the hero coach. Looking at this, there's rumors about how there's going to be a costume for Milena coming out in the next couple of months. So maybe it is time for you to get Milena up and running. I have 3 Milena, so if I can get the costume, that'll be nice. And if you have the costume for Zhuge or Cao here, maybe you haven't had the energy or time to spend those resources for double limit breaking them, sure, but I don't think that's the case. Certain utility heroes like Hetaphrus, I think, is one of the really, really good ones as well. You will have to spend most of your time trying to level the costume, but having the base at double limit broken means you can use the regular side first while you're trying to build up your costume. That's about it. I did consider Zandrella as well, because Zandrella is really good against ice enemies. The only problem is that Fergus is a monk, so And yeah, that kind of sucks if this ailment doesn't really hit him. So that's really sad. Now, if you were to ask me, what am I planning to level? So I'm actually thinking of three heroes from my side. One is Gazelle. I want a third Gazelle. The second one is Tethys. Um, just to have fun with my hippo team, I can use Tethys to give them an attack boost, which is interesting, but not all the same. Too not really too functional these days. The third one is a lacy. I wanted to get the lacy up so that I could have the costume. I could just work on the costume, and that's fine. And sorry, the fourth one that I was thinking of was actually to either max out Magni here because I have the tune, or my Obakan because I have the glass version. So I could just spend the time and just level up the glass. So again, there's 2 days for Hero Coach, 2 or 3 days, given the time that you are logging into the game. So I would advise to actually look at your roster. Now again, these are heroes. The Hero Coach only affects the heroes that are on your roster. So there's 2 ways I can see this happening. Either you spend like hell to try and get one of your older heroes for you to like as I mentioned, the Wilderness Summons has Oniwakamaru. If I would put some gems into Wilderness Summons and I pull a second Oniwakamaru, it's a no-brainer. I'm putting Oniwakamaru in there. The second thing is look at your roster, figure out what are the heroes that you feel a reluctance of using the Alpha Eaters, and then you can use the Hero Coach for it. Now, bear in mind that you will need at least 1,000 gems to get a base level hero all the way to double limit break. So if I choose Gazelle, for example, it's 992 because I have 3 when it to level 3. Let me see if I have a bear Gazelle. Where do I have a Gazelle at 1-1? Let me see. I remember I do. So 9-3. Yep. So I have a Gazelle here. So it's 1,000. This is the maximum amount of gems that is required to bring up a hero from 1-1 all the way to level 90. Now, if you choose, let's say for example, Oniwakamaru here, because he's already single limit broken, it's going to cost a little bit less. It's going to cost 18 gems only. So decide where you are. I do have enough gems to kind of max them out from any hero I choose, but I'm going to take some time. I'm going to take a couple of days maybe to think about it. I'm being very honest with y'all. I did not really look at Hero Coach. I did not spend much time thinking of what heroes can I get, what should I use to use in this Hero Coach thing. I really didn't. So I'm going to be as flummoxed as you guys in order to figure out what kind of what hero should I be putting in. Should I put in a hero that I use for Titans? Do I use it for some of these heroes that I've never used before and I want to use it at double limit broken? I don't know. I haven't fully decided yet. So again, take your time to decide what you're gonna do with it. Remember that it is only leveling them up to you're only leveling these heroes up, let's say, to level 90, which means you still need to put emblems on it. You still need to spend the ham and iron to put the emblems on this particular hero. So bear in mind, it does not level up the costumes as well, which means if you put in, say, for example, Obakan, as we talked about, let's see, fly all the way down to Obakan. So if you put Obakan in, for example, you will only be getting this version maxed. So you will not get the other costumes maxed, which means you still have to spend the resources to level up those costumes, which will be way less cheaper than leveling the base version. So I hope that gives you enough information for the Hero Coach. Let me know in the comments what you have decided to use this Hero Coach on. I haven't fully decided yet, but as I said, my heart most likely will be either on Tethys, Alacy, Gazelle or Obakan. So let's see. Maybe in one of my streams I will actually tell what I've used it on. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. GG.